When you set goals, how realistic are you being about how much you can take on? And then once you commit to a goal, do you really commit to a process, a clear set of milestones that mark how you achieve that goal? If you have ever set a goal but failed to accomplish it, it's likely one of the following assumptions has stopped you. On the surface, these things can all seem reasonable, but sadly, they're all myths. Really, truly, all of them. Okay, disclaimer here. This video is going to feel like some tough love, but it's the good kind of tough love. That kind of tough love that makes you feel motivated to get things done the right way. Okay, let's buckle into this with the mindset of knowledge is power. We're going to talk about goals, focusing on what gets in the way of accomplishing goals, and then also what we can do about it. My name is Chris Beer, and I am the Wizard of Ops. And from my work with clients, I know that goal setting and goal completion can be a really frustrating subject for entrepreneurs, especially the ones that are overworked and understaffed, and that's probably all of you. Let's get to talking about goals and how we approach them. In the book Atomic Habits, James Clear uses the analogy of a small rowboat to explain goals and the processes to achieve them. He likens the goal to the rudder on the boat. So picture this. The goal sets your direction, and then it determines where you want to go. If you commit to one goal, the rudder, of course, stays going in one direction, and you move consistently along that path. But when you keep changing your focus or have multiple goals, your rudder is going to move all around, and it's, of course, easy to find yourself rowing in circles, i.e. going nowhere. So he goes on to explain that there is another part of the boat that is even more important than the rudder, and that is the oars. If the rudder is your goal, then the oars are your processes for achieving it. While the rudder determines your direction, it's the oars that are the most essential because they determine your progress, the steps to get there, to the end state. Even if you've heard that analogy before, take a moment and let it sink in. Be honest with yourself. When you set goals, how realistic are you being about how much you can take on? And then once you commit to a goal, do you really commit to a process, a clear set of milestones that mark how you achieve that goal? Do you ever get discouraged by doubt that you can get things done? It happens to the best of us. In the interest of setting ourselves up for success, let's start by breaking down some myths. Let's understand what gets in the way of us accomplishing our goals. So here are a few examples of the things that we tell ourselves. Does any of this sound familiar? Goals don't work. My business is too unpredictable. If I don't reach my goal, I'm a failure. Goals can only be started at the beginning of the month or the quarter or the year. And I don't have time for this. Listen, those are all very common things, and the most important thing here is awareness. Awareness is essential. And now that we know the little mind games that stand between us and our goals, here's a 4-step process for moving beyond those myths and defining goals that you'll actually accomplish. So step number 1 in that process is to set the right goals. Oftentimes, we as entrepreneurs get so wrapped up in working in our businesses that we lose sight of what's really important. We work tirelessly, but it's not always on the things that impact the business. And we can't forget to prioritize the things that move our businesses forward, getting us closer to the big goals. The reasons that you started the business in the first place. When choosing your goals for the quarter, link those goals to your priorities. And your priorities are a mix of your core values and then your 3 to 10 year goal for where you want the business to be. By linking your priorities to your goals, you can ensure that your priorities and goals stay top of mind. And that in itself is going to dull the noise of those tasks that seem urgent, but they really aren't all that important. In fact, all they do is distract you from what's essential for your business. Moving on to step number 2. Define the process. Once you've defined your goals, map out the process for getting them done. You all know that classic framework, the acronym SMART, which is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Don't skip this part. As cheesy as it sounds, the adage, failing to plan is planning to fail, it's true. We all know it because we've been there. We have all named goals without naming the specifics that it will take to get there, and that's a recipe for failure. So make sure that you get smart with your goals, and by that, breaking it down, I mean specific. Get crystal clear in what your goal is and note the steps that you're going to take to get there. Break it down. Measurable. Specificity is a solid start, but quantifying your goal, that is making sure that it's measurable, makes it easier to track the progress and know when you've actually reached that finish line. Attainable. Now this is a time for a gut check. Ask yourself, is your goal realistically something that your team can accomplish? Relevant. This is where you tap into those priorities we talked about. Is this goal relevant to the overarching priorities of your business? And lastly, time-bound. Simply put, when will this goal be finished? Taking the time to walk through these steps, creating your process, it's a critical part of your success. Moving on to process step number 3, clear the deck. These goals, these are your number one priorities, and that means that something's gotta give in order for you to have the time and energy to get those goals over the finish line. Using the EOS Delegate and Elevate tool can give you the space to focus on what's most important, therefore allowing you to make the best use of your time and talents. And lastly, process step number 4, build in some accountability. Find someone who can support and encourage you as you work towards your goal. A positive support system can make all the difference in helping you stay committed. If you encounter a blocker, talk it out with your accountability partner. On the flip side, if you have a win, celebrate the hell out of it. This will encourage you to stay motivated and keep working towards that final goal. When you set a goal, it's uncomfortable. It's like putting your neck out there. You're making yourself vulnerable to possible disappointment and failure. But what's so worth it is that feeling that you get when you actually achieve your goal. I know it's uncomfortable to put yourself in this position, but as an entrepreneur, you have to be doing whatever it takes to reach those goals, and a lot of that comes with the actual planning and process. Don't be afraid to go after those big goals and go after them with everything you've got. Just make sure to do it in a systematic fashion that sets you up for success. The payoff is definitely worth the time that you'll put into it. So in closing, I want to know, this is a system for goals. What's the best system that you've ever put in place for bettering your business? As the Wizard of Ops, I believe in better living through systems. Please watch my other videos for more on simple, organized systems that will give you more time and energy for your personal and professional life. Thanks for tuning in. Happy learning.
Hey everybody, Jessica LaChance here. Do you want more business education for your fitness studio or wellness business? Subscribe to our YouTube channel or our email newsletters, and we'll see you here soon.